Welcome to the Big Match Theory. My name is Mangesh, and along with me, I have Rohit. Rohit, is there anything you want to talk about today? Did anything did
There is
anything happen yesterday?
there's
I
not
mean,
anything, not a thing I want to talk about. There is someone I want to talk about.
oh my god,
Someone
oh
who
god,
unfortunately has. Well, I mean, you will give the introduction, Mangesh.
yeah, but so yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, Manchester United manager Erik Ten Hag has been sacked. And as the club statement reads, Erik Ten Hag has left his role as Manchester United's first team manager. Erik was appointed in April 2022 and led the club to domestic trophies, winning the Carabao Cup in 2023 and FA Cup in 2024. Typical, we are grateful to Eric for everything he has done during his time with us and wish him well for the future. I think they said the same about David Moyes. Yeah, and the picture that you have on your T-shirt that is when we won the Carabao Cup or the League Cup, as you call
Yeah.
it. And yeah, and Ruud van Nistelrooy will take charge of the team as interim head coach, supported by the current coaching team. Uh, up, yeah, well, it's a permanent head coach is recruited. So I mean, we saw it coming. This was inevitable. It's not like it is a surprise. What pisses me off is now people are talking about Van Nistelrooy's tactical system. As if we are expected that Rude is going to create some tactical revolution. See, both of us love Rude to death for obvious reasons because we loved him as a player. But I don't know what the hell is going on. Why is everyone talking about Rude's tactical system? But coming back to the point, what are your views? Of course, it's not like we have not talked about this, but what are your views about Ten Hag sagging?
You and I have been sacking Ten Hag since the first game week. Speculating or when it's unfortunate, honestly. I mean, but
Yeah.
let's. I mean, to be perfectly candid, I think this should have been done in the summer. I think it was clear as day that what happened last season, and even with the injuries, even with what had happened, somewhere we knew that his message was not reaching the players, or the players were, as they have done before with Solskjaer, as they have done before with Jose Mourinho, that they just stopped responding to this particular manager. So it's not the first time it has happened in Man United. Hopefully, it's the last, but I won't bet against it. But it is what it is. So it they should have severed ties in the summer, and more importantly, the very fact that they went out and spoke to Thomas Tuchel, the very fact that it was a very public outreach to other managers, it showed that Eric Ten Hag was never their first choice. They're only
Yeah.
sticking with Ten Hag because he built some sort of goodwill after beating Man City in the FA Cup final, and because somewhere maybe they felt that Tuchel wasn't the man for the job, but Ten Hag was also not the man for the job. So they were just waiting for the right candidate to be available. So, and having said that, and before I throw it over to you, if Ten Hag was not the right man for the job, if Thomas Tuchel wasn't the right man for the job, are you telling me that the likes of Xavi or the likes of Ruben Amorim weren't available in the summer? Xavi, it was very clear that Xavi was going to leave Barcelona. It was very clear that Ruben Amorim had one year left on his Sporting Lisbon contract. It was clear that any other manager that you wanted to, if you had a chat with them, you would have done something. You would have got a new manager. You would have got his players into the club. But as usual, the club made a wrong decision at the wrong time, and here we are, 14th in the table with 11 points from 9 games.
See, this looks like just an extension of course, Glazer are still at the club, but even when it comes to football operations, okay, so what we can say is let's give them a benefit of doubt. They took over just now, but this is such a crucial stage in club's future, or that will decide club's future. If they screw this up now, I think it will just be another Liverpool. I don't see us winning another league or doing anything worthwhile for another 10 years at least. Because this is bonkers. First they should have sacked Ten Hag after the FA Cup final. But since we won that game, he was kept on. I can't think of any other reason. Because even before the final, I think Jacob Steinberg or a couple of other journalists, they reported that that Ineos wants to sack Erik Ten Hag. That did not
Yeah.
happen. So was the only deciding factor the FA Cup final? That is absolute bonkers. This is not how any big club reacts. Carlo Ancelotti has won 2 league titles and 2 Champions League for Real Madrid in last 5 years. Now, after one bad El Clasico, there are reports that he might get sacked. And of course, Real is Real. They are extreme. Basically, Perez runs that club.
Yeah.
But this is not a sign of good club, man. This is not a sign of well-run club. I have no understanding. I don't understand what's happening right now.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Go
sorry,
on,
go
go
on.
on.
Go on. No, finish your point.
No, no. So I was just about to say that the next the possible replacement is Ruben Amorim. Now he is in talks with Manchester United. I mean, did you not have a word with him in the summer?
That's my point. It's not like Ruben Amorim in the summer committed to Sporting Lisbon. He signed a new contract and said, "I'm going to be here for 5 years." Right? That didn't happen. What stopped you from speaking to him in the summer? What stopped you from at least speaking to anybody else? I mean, I look at it in this way, right? And in my head, I'll tell you why this is so wrong on 2 levels. Number one, you decide that you speak to Thomas Tuchel, and that was public information. It's not something which nobody knew. Ten Hag himself in an interview said that they might have spoken to other people, but eventually they decided I was the best man for the job. So it's like I'm still in a job and I know that my boss is interviewing somebody else for my role. What sort of confidence am I gonna have, in that role? And secondly, when they decided, when that you're only half backing Erik Ten Hag in terms of his long-term future as Man United manager, but you're still okay in spending 200 million on players that suit him. And then you will expect Amorim or whoever the new manager is to come back again, try to do something with the same players. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Basically, what has happened now is that Amorim or whoever is the new manager is going to come take over United 10, 11 games down in the season. He's going to be working with players that don't maybe suit his style, or maybe players that he hasn't signed. So basically, we'll write this season off. Then next season, maybe he'll get 1 or 2 players in the summer transfer window, and we'll maybe finish 5th or 6th, and we'll say that, oh, but he didn't get all his players. Next season is when he'll challenge for the title, or when he'll challenge for the top 4. How many years are we just simply supposed to sit back and wait for a manager to get his best players so that we can challenge? I mean, that's not the right way of running a club, is it?
I mean, we are completely lost in transition right now. I mean, the transitions are not even smooth. After Fergie left, we should have hired someone like Mourinho, who was a winner. Who could have stamped his authority right away.
Who was available also.
Who wanted to come. United was his dream job. I mean, there are reports in that. Whose book was that? Mourinho book. I have that book, Mourinho's biography. That he cried when he realized that Ferguson opted David Moyes over him, of all people. David Moyes over him.
But you know what? We've got all our managerial. Sorry to cut you off, but I was just thinking about what you said. We went in for Moyes when Van Gaal was available. Yeah. When this guy was
Mourinho was available. Yeah.
We went in for Van Gaal when maybe a few other younger managers were also available. There were talks of. Yeah. Wasn't Klopp shown around United? Was it
so,
when Mourinho was around, or I don't remember.
So basically, Ed Woodward talked to him and told him that Disney United is the new Disney or something like that.
Massimiliano Allegri was linked when David Moyes was sacked, but no, they went in with Van Gaal. Then when Erik Ten Hag was signed, there was a chance of going with Maurizio Pochettino, who supposedly at that point of time was proven at Spurs and all that. So every step, Jose Mourinho is probably the one manager where even I thought that, okay, if Jose is available in 2016, was it 2016?
2016, yeah.
If Jose Mourinho is available in 2016, you go for Jose Mourinho. That's a no-brainer.
Right.
That's a no-brainer. Apart from that, even be it Van Gaal, be it Moyes, be it Ten Hag, there were always, on paper, better managers available, and we just decided to go in for somebody else.
Yeah. So, and even before Ten Hag was signed, so we need to understand how different manager operate in the sense a lot of managers are good when they have backing of the club, of backing of club authorities. They have better structure in place. Pep Guardiola doesn't have to do what Alex Ferguson used to do or Wenger used to do.
No,
Pochettino at Spurs did not have backing of the club in a way, say Guardiola has now, or Klopp had at Liverpool, or still has. So at that time, I personally thought Pochettino was the ideal candidate in
hmm.
2022. Because
No,
what happened at that time? Because he left Spurs in 2019, then he took a break for a year, and then he went to PSG of all clubs. PSG is the club where it is manager's graveyard.
yeah.
No good
Carlo
manager
Ancelotti
can
has
stay
failed there. Pochettino
there.
has failed there. Everybody has failed there.
Yeah,
Tuchel has failed there. Yeah.
Tuchel's failed there. So there is no way he was going to thrive at PSG. Now he had one more season at Chelsea when in the end he was actually doing good.
He
And but
was
what do
there.
you expect?
No, and now, help me understand this, man. Help me understand this. Now, in the summer, we signed Delict,
Yeah,
we signed Mazraoui, we signed Xerxes. Ugarte, let's not talk about Ugarte because Ugarte is probably, in my opinion, wasn't a Ten Hag signing. But I look at Xerxes, I look at Mazraoui, and I look at Delict. Are they system signings? Do you look at them and go that, okay, these are players that will thrive under any manager that comes in? I don't think so. Xerxes is not a system player.
hmm,
Xerxes, because remember, we spent 30 or whatever, 40 million or whatever it was on Xerxes. We don't know. Ruben Amorim, I haven't seen a lot of Sporting Lisbon play, but from what I
yeah,
know, Sporting Lisbon play a 3-4-3.
hmm,
At least he played a 3-4-3 in Sporting Lisbon. If he decides to go 3 at the back, where exactly is Xerxes going to?
yeah,
If Hoyland plays at it, but whatever it is, even Matthias Delict, I don't know if Delict is a club signing or is he somebody that just came in because he was at Ajax? Is Mazraoui someone who came in because the club saw that he can play across the back four, and Erik Ten Hag in his second last game played him as a number 10. I think he was drunk during that game. But is he a system player or is he just somebody that Ten Hag signed because he knew him? See, that's the thing. You talk about, you spoke of a new structure at the club. You spoke of there now being you know there being a system in place. What system? We are still signing players
yeah,
that a manager that you wanted to sack in the summer, that you have sacked 9 games into the summer, you are signing players for him. Apart from Ugarte, tell me, apart from Ugarte, what player is somebody that can fit into a Ugarte? I can tell you, Ugarte can play in across any of the past 10, 15 years come Manchester United teams. Ugarte, I can see Ugarte doing what Ander Herrera did 7, 8 years
hmm,
ago. I can see Ugarte do what Casemiro did in that 2022, 23 season. But Delict, I don't know. Mazraoui, I don't know. Zirkzee, I definitely don't. So, I mean, is there really a system in place then? If these are the players that you say, I'm not saying they're bad players, but I am
yeah.
not saying he's
I
a
get
bad
that.
player.
Yeah.
Zirkzee could very well go on to be a great, forward or an option. Delict has actually played very well. Mazraoui has always been good for United in the season so far. But are these Ten Hag players? If Amorim or whoever tomorrow wakes up and says, you know what, I don't want to play this system. I want a different wide player. I want a center midfield player. I want a different left back. What are we going to do? Again, spend 300 million?
Yeah,
I don't get
yeah.
it.
I mean, and that is such a good point in the sense you have Xerxes who drops deep and creates space for others. I mean, this is how he operated in most of United games whenever he featured. Now you have Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, who plays as a number 10, but he's not exactly a player like Wayne Rooney. Still drops deep. He plays in the midfield and takes runs. You have someone like Mason Mount. You have two wide players or three wide players in say Rashford, Ahmad, and Garnacho.
Mhm.
I understand. I understand this, but if he signed Xerxes, what exactly was his system? What about Hoyland? Where does Hoyland play?
And these are not cheap signings. I mean, look at it
Yeah,
this way. Look at it this way. You have Bruno Fernandes, who's our first choice number 10. You spent 60 million on Mason Mount.
yeah,
What did we spend? 50 million, 60 million on Mason Mount for a player
something
who was
like
in
what?
the,
Yeah,
for a player who
yeah,
was in the last year of his contract to play as a second choice to Bruno Fernandes. Do you spend 60 million for a second number 10 and then you go out and you sign Joshua Zirkzee, who technically, if you think about it, is a number 10.
yeah,
He has shown nothing on the pitch to say that he can lead the line or play the off the shoulder of the last defender, right? So you again spend 40 million for another number 10. So
yeah,
you have 100 million in options 2 and 3 for a number 10 with Bruno Fernandes already as a number 10. And then you have only 3 wide players. Usme se agar if somebody gets injured, what are you going to do? Play Zirkzee wide, play Mount wide. What system is this?
yeah.
But I did not, honestly, Mason Mount is a signing I did not understand even last year. वो किधर खेलने वाला है? He can't play the Eriksen role. He can't play the Eriksen role because he's not that sort of a player, right? He doesn't have the physical capabilities of playing in the center of it. He can play Bruno's role, but then you have Bruno Fernandes. He can play the false nine, but then you have Joshua Zirkzee. He can play wide right, which is not his best position, but you already have Ahmad and Rashford who are now playing wide right. Can't खिलाएगा? You have a 60 million guy that you have no place for in the team. I don't know.
This is all baffling. And I honestly, I am so negative about this entire situation that I do not see this improving at all. Because if Amorim plays 3-4-3, the players he is going to need will be different.
None of these guys can do what can play in the three. The only part of the back three of the 3-4-3 I'm comfortable is the back three.
Back three, yeah. Yeah.
That is because you have Lisandro Martinez, Delict, and third can be Lenny Yoro, it can be Lindelof,
Maguire, yeah.
Whoever it is. Beach में का 4 में कौन है? Are you going to play Mazraoui and Dalot as wingbacks? And then what happens to Rashford? He plays in the front three. Who's giving you balance? I have no trust in Rashford and Garnacho to play that role.
Yeah.
And where does Bruno play? In a 3-4-3. Where does Mount play in a 3-4-3? That's what I'm saying, right? All of this, you and I can see the logic in this, but there are people who are getting paid 100 times what you and I make combined in a year to come up with these decisions, and it seems clueless. But honestly, I mean, let's go back to the guy who got sacked. If you were to sort of try to summarize your thoughts on Ten Hag and his tenure, his last little more than 2 years, what would you say?
See, there were some positives, and we were the encouraging signs in his first season. And yeah, I think he did a decent job in his first season with the resources that he had, because it was quite clear that he wanted someone like De Jong to hold, and that made complete sense. De Jong would play in most of the games, even though he did not play for Barca in that El Clasico 2 days ago. But he fits right into most of the teams. He did not get that. So with the options that he had, I thought he did a decent job. Last season was a shit show. I cannot think of any other word. Last season, everything went downhill. We did not have a system. We did not know what we were doing. It felt that Ten Hag does not know what he wants. And this season has been a continuation of last season, man. So I think the decision was good. The timing was bad.
Agreed. I have a slightly not a different take. I fully agree with everything you said, but I want to draw parallels between Erik Ten Hag and Louis van Gaal, my favorite manager. So if you think about it, right? If you remember Van Gaal's first season, United were playing a very different style of football for the first few months. They were a lot more direct. They were a lot more gung-ho till that Leicester game.
Leicester game, exactly.
Correct?
Exactly.
Something switched in Louis van Gaal then.
Yeah.
And then he went back to let's just keep the ball. We used to have 70% ball possession and we used to do nothing with them.
Yeah.
We used to recycle the ball in midfield for about 10-15 minutes. We always had the ball. We had the ball all the time, but we did nothing with it. Same thing, if I were to draw parallels with Ten Hag, something switched after two games. One was the Carabao Cup final, and the other, in a very weird sort of way, was that 7-0 loss to Liverpool. I feel something switched because if you think about it, right, even the first season when we did finish third in the league, till the Carabao Cup final, we were a different team. Between that 2-1 win against Liverpool and that Carabao Cup final, we went on this long unbeaten run. We were very direct. We used to press higher up the pitch. The likes of Anthony, Rashford, and all of these guys were very good. Casemiro was playing really good. After that Carabao Cup final, there was a significant, I would say, just a dip in the intensity. There was a significant dip in even the type of football that we were playing. There was a significant drop in just the quality of the club. I don't know if this came in because if you remember after that, we got knocked out of the Europa League. I think it was a semi-final, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so quarter-final, right? Sevilla.
We got
Sevilla.
Yeah, so we got knocked out of that. We pretty much lost the FA Cup final in the first 10 seconds. And there were certain games towards the end of even the first season where, if you remember, there was a time with 3 or 4 games to go, Liverpool was actually running us close. We weren't going to drop out of the top 4, but there was a good chance that we would have finished 4th.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that did not happen, and we got a few. We got a few, and same thing happened in the second season. The second season of Van Gaal, there were some weird sales that he made, and there were some substandard purchases that he made. If you remember, we bought in a crocked Schweinsteiger.
Yeah.
Someone decided to spend a lot of money on Morgan Schneiderlin for whatever reason. Then we decided to let go of Welbeck. We decided to let go of Evans and all of that, and we only had Anthony Martial as a number.
We let go of Johnny Evans.
We let go of Johnny Evans.
Yeah.
Same thing in Ten Hag's second season. We let go of Scott McTominay. I'm not saying he was a world beater by any stretch of the
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. He was not. He did not deserve to start for United. Fair enough. We let go of a significant goal threat, a guy who used to get us important goals, and we got in Joshua Zirkzee, who was unproven. He's not a bad player at all. He's a Dutch international. But he's young. How are you going into a season with your 2 strikers with the ages of 21 and 22 or 21 and 20 or whatever it is? How is that possible? That is like Fergie putting in Chicharito as Sirf Chicharito. There is no Rooney, there is no Van Persie, there is no one else. You're the only striker. Would Fergie have done that? No. Yeah. Your wide players now are Ahmad, Garnacho, 20 and whatever, 22 or something, and a completely out of sorts Marcus Rashford, and an absolute hot trash Anthony. That is not how you build a squad. So that is why I was just trying to draw parallels between these two, and they've pretty much functioned the same way. Second season Van Gaal football was beyond garbage. Worst football I've seen in the last 15 years. Same thing with Ten Hag.